Myself Nitish. As you know, we are here for part 5 video. Part 4 is completed and uploaded. Now it is a part 5 video. Please go through it. We will discuss here some of the technology which is already part 4 we discussed around after water softening and the water is hard. What to do with that? What kind of treatment we are going for? Maybe lime soda process, maybe your zeolite ion exchange process or zeolite process will be going to deal with that. Now we are going to discuss today. Our matter is to be slightly. We are going for an RO process, reverse osmosis process. One of the well-known process in nowadays, we can say. A technique is used to processing. A technique is used to require high quality of purified water, such as semiconductor processing. We can say it is or biochemical application. Biochemical application. Biochemical application is reverse osmosis. A technique is used to process requiring high quality purified water, such in semiconductor processing is a reverse osmosis. It can be used as a treat boiler feed water or industrial wastewater or process water. Okay, so here the thing is, it's a reverse osmosis process is a water purification technique that reduces the quantity of dissolved solute in the solution. Okay, this is a reference. Dissolved solids in the solution, which was first developed in 1950s, and a purification technique. It is a water purification technique reduces the quantity to improve the quality. Okay, by the US government provide by the 1950, not now, 70-year-old process. First developed in 1950 by the US government provide fresh drinking water for Navy. Since then, advances have been made in such more feasible for obtaining purified water from wastewater produced in many industrial applications. Okay, so RO uses water line pressure to push raw water against a special semi-permeable membrane. That's all. Reverse osmosis. Here, what we are doing is water line pressure to push raw wastewater against a special a permeable, semi-permeable membrane. Okay. So now, semi-permeable membrane, isn't it? So, it is essentially molecular squeezing process. Yeah? Your molecular squeezing process, which is causes H2O molecules to separate from the contaminants. Very important, which cause your H2O molecules to separate from the contaminants. Okay, the separated water molecules then pass through the inside of the membrane on holding reservoir. Inside of the membrane onto a holding reservoir. Okay. The contaminants are washed from the membrane and disposed of. Recently, RO has been using treated boiler feed water in addition to the industrial wastewater and industrial and process wastewater. Boiler are found through the chemical processing industry and preliminary method to treat a boiler wastewater and ion exchange based demineralization. That is also one more advanced technique. Recently, it's developed demineralization. However, RO has been demonstrated done most cost effective this demineralization process. Okay, one of the importantly we can say recently advanced in demineralization process. Okay, so it will be a demineralization also can be used. So this is what your reverse osmosis process says. And now, when you come for an advantages and disadvantages in this regards, advantages and disadvantages, it is removes nearly all contaminants ions. Removes all contaminants ion, most dissolved non-ions, relatively intensive to flow and total dissolves like TDS levels and suitable small systems which is high degree of seasonal fluctuation in the water demand. So kind of things like intensive to flow and total dissolved solids. RO operate immediately without any minimum break period. Okay, it will be operates immediately. RO is a simple process. It is a membrane exchange. Okay, low effluent concentration possible. Bacteria and particles are removed. Bacteria and particles are removed. Operation simplicity and automation allow for a less operator attention make RO suitable for small system applications. Okay, limitations means it's a high capital operating cost. One, managing the wastewater is a potential problem, like brine solution. High level of pre-treatment is required. For in the some cases, membrane to fouling, that is one of the main important criteria. Fouls. Okay, that membrane fouls sometimes. It is a process where the membrane fouling means it is a process where solution of the particle is deposited. I am explaining about your membrane failing. This membrane fails. It is in a process where the solution of a particle, okay, the membrane fouling is a process which the solution of the particle is deposited on the membrane surfaces or in a membrane pores in the process such as is in a membrane bioreactor or that membrane performance is degraded. It is a major obstacle of widespread use technology. Membrane fouling causes a severe flux decline and affect the quality of the water produced. Severe fouling may require intense chemical cleaning of the membrane replacement. So that is, if somebody, if this wanted to know, that is very important factor in our membrane fouling. We should study before going to disadvantages. So I am highlighting this as highlighting you that fouling, membrane fouling is what is membrane fouling? So I'll explain that membrane fouling is a process. Okay, membrane fouling is a process. Understand? Membrane fouling is a process. Okay, fouling is a process where the solution or the particle is deposited on the membrane surfaces. Think that it's the membrane. You can see one figure. See, inside there will be this is RO treatment plant. You can see very nicely modified RO treatment plant and well established. So you can see these are the units, single units of the membrane. I mean RO. So here inside membrane is fitted with this column. So the membranes are inside membranes are going to not fouling, only the reason which particles are deposited on the membrane surface or in the membrane pores in a process such in that membrane performance is degraded. It is also major obstacle to a widespread use this technology. Membrane fouling causes flux. What is flux? I'll tell you later. Flux decline. Membrane fouling causes flux decline and effect of the quality of the water produced. Severe fouling may require intense chemical cleaning or membrane replacement. You have to replace the membrane itself. With the increasing operating cost of the treatment. This will be increasing the operating cost of the treatment. Thereby various types of foulants like colloidal like that. So fouling can be divided into reversible and irreversible fouling based on the attachment strength of the particle to the membrane. Okay, this is what about your membrane fouling means. I hope now you are clear with that. Produces the most wastewater between 25 to 50% of the feed problems with reverse osmosis. Okay, this is one of the technology which we are using. Now, see, this is one of the important figure you can see. I don't have. This is a figure which is established figure. RO plant. So got it now what is reverse osmosis means. If you need more clarification also, it's especially it removes unwanted molecules, larger particle from the drinking water. In the reverse, applied pressure is used. Okay. Then, and it is nowadays it is most common for in the desalination. Wait a minute, I just. So before moving to another topic, we can go to another. You can say I can give you one figure for this if more clarification. I can give figure for this an application. Okay. Your reverse osmosis process figure may like this also. Freehand sketch, please adjust with that. See here the semi-permeable membranes will be there. Okay, here the pure water will be the reverse process. Okay, here we are inserting applied pressure. Say this is applied pressure. Okay, in that salt water we have salt water or dissolved matters. Okay, here we have semi-permeable membranes, and this is fresh water zone. Water travels like this. This is called reverse osmosis. Reverse osmosis works by using high pressure pump to increase the pressure on the salt side, so that RO force the water across the semi-permeable. RO force the water and force the water across the semi-permeable RO membrane, leaving almost 95 to 99% of dissolved solid behind the reject stream. The amount of pressure is required depend upon the salt concentration in the feed of the water. Clear? The more concentration feed water, the more pressure is required in the water. That's all. Okay, we'll move to another topic. I hope you got it. What is RO? If any clarification, you can give a comment in the comment box. If you take design calculation, where important methods are feed pressure, permeate pressure, concentrate pressure, and feed conductivity, permeate conductivity, feed flow, permeate flow, temperature. These many are the design consideration we are going to do. So here one more important factor we are going to discuss, that is RO salt passage and rejection. What is RO passage and salt reduction? That is one of the major important role in the RO. So basic understanding here is RO process flow is necessary to fully appreciate salt passage and rejection. Okay, fully appreciate salt passage and reduction, that is rejection. An RO membrane system is comprised of three fluid streams. Okay, the feed, permeate, and concentrate. The feed, permeate, and concentrate. As this feed water passes through the membrane, the resulting permeate produces or product your permeate. Permeate means what? Your resulting permeate, that is your product water, means your clear water. Concentrate, reject water. Which is reject water and which is your feed product water or permeate, what we call. Permeate means your see, this is, I will give a clear figure for you, one of the figure. So I will go for one screen and I'll give a clear figure so that you will come to know. See here, we have a RO stream. Okay, so here feed water will be there. There will be a pump fitted with that. This is pump, feed water. This is This is called feed water. Okay, feed water. And here you have RO process, reverse osmosis process. I know that what is reverse osmosis process. I explained to you. This is RO membrane. You can call it as a RO membrane. And this is permeate water, means product, what you want actually. That is called permeate. Permeate means you got it, no? This is permeate water. Handwriting will not come because I am using mouse for this. We cannot write clearly. If any technology you have in your mind, please comment in the comment box so that I can write it clearly. Please, rather than any good system we can use for this kind of writing. Reject stream. So you will get a reject stream here. What is this reject stream means? See, the feed water entering to the RO membrane, there will be two types of water will be generated. One is rejected water and one is permeate. Permeate means your product. Okay, clean, no? So now you got it right. What is resulting permeate means a feed water passes through a membrane as a resulting permeate, that product water, that is your product water or permeate, what I told now, and concentrate reject water are produced. Unless there are significant leaks in the system, the combined volume permeate and concentrate are always equal to the feed flow volume shown in this calculation. See that. It is equal unless there is no significant in the system. The combined volume permeate and concentrate is equal to the feed flow volume as shown in the calculation. We'll see the calculation before going to that. Feed flow is equal to permeate flow plus concentrate flow. You got it now. Just now I told the figure. Where feed flow is this one. This is RO. This is permeate flow. This is a rejected flow. We can call it as concentrate flow. Concentrate flow also you can call, or rejected flow. This is permeate flow, means product. This is feed flow. This says permeate flow plus feed flow always is equal to permeate flow plus concentrated flow. Okay. Flow designed as Q. Flow designated as a Q. Feed flow designated as QF. Permeate flow is designated as QP. Concentrate flow is QC. So overall the mass calculation is equal to QF into CF, that is concentrate while entering, and QP and CP plus QC and CC, where the C is referring to the concentration in the sense. That is what it says. Okay, is equal to. Both are equal. Actually, this says that both are equal. For that, disadvantage is managing wastewater is a potential problem. Okay, this is one of the main criteria involved in this process. Okay, so now I told you flux, right? What is flux means? When I told in the RO membrane where there is a fouling, I just told what is flux. No, flux. What is flux actually? That is also one of the prime factor now. What is flux? Flux is nothing but flux is in a water. Flux or water flux is typically expressed as a volume per unit volume per area per unit time. Flux is used to express the rate at which water permeates a reverse osmosis membrane. The rate, especially the rate. Flux means, for example, if you take a membrane, if you take a membrane, if you just take one, this is membrane, right? Again, I am giving an example for you to tell the flux. So this is feed water. This is permeate water. That means product, and this is what? Rejected water, or else concentrated water, or you can say rejected water. So flux means the amount, you can say volume per unit area per minute with respect to time, or per unit area with respect to time. That is the amount of, or concentration, or the flow, amount of flow generated with unit area per minute. The amount, how much amount is generated, that is flux. The flux will be reduced. Flux will be reduced due to membrane fouling. Due to your membrane fouling. That should not happen. That's what flux. Okay. The flux is used to express rate at which the water permeates in the reservoir. Permeate water. That is your end product. Typically, units are measured in the gallons per, usually gallons per square foot per day. That is in your, not in our Indian IS system. But in our system, we can say liters per square meter per hour. That is liter per, volume means liter, and unit area means meter square, per time means hour. So liter per meter square per hour we are calculated. The flux of the RO membrane directly proportional to the temperature and pressure also. It is directly proportional to, indirectly proportional to maybe your this fouling. As a rule, flux decreased by, as a thumb rule, flux is decreased by 1.5%, 1.5% per 1 degree F. So that is salt flux is an amount of the TDS. Okay. One minute. Here we can see that the salt flux amount of TDS that passes through in a given area. Okay, so very important to say that flux is decreased about 1.5% depend upon the temperature. That is 1 degree Fahrenheit at every 1 degree Fahrenheit will be decreased 1.5%. So very important to say that is. And salt flux is commonly one minute. Okay, so the salt flux amount is TDS has been passed through any given area membrane per unit time. It is important to remember salt flux is a function of concentrated gradient and not driving pressure. Therefore, increasing driving pressure, the concentrated salt is permeate decreases due to constant leakage of salt water in milligrams and increased water flux in the liters. That is net effect of increased drive pressure to dilute the constant amount of the salt in the pure water. Hope so you understood this process. Very simple process of flux. Flux or water flux is typically expressed as a volume per unit time, especially that is liter per meter square per hour. Okay. we can move to another topic, which is uh, after RO process. After RO process. Okay. Mm, what is that? Nanofiltration. What is nanofiltration? One of the prime important. What is nanofiltration? Uh, we have studied already filtration, sand filtration, uh, and rapid sand filtration, pressure sand filtration, slow sand filtration, kind of. But nanofiltration means what? What is nanofiltration to say? Nanofiltration membrane how? Why nanofiltration required actually? What is the purpose of nanofiltration? Right. It is, you can say that it is a relatively membrane filtration process used on the most often low total result water such as surface water and fresh water. Right. So it is, we can say, technique mainly used in the removal of two valued ions, that is larger monovalued ions such as heavy metals. This technique can be used for coarse RO reverse osmosis membranes. Because nanofiltration uses less fine membranes, the feed pressure of the nanofiltration systems are generally lower compared to RO systems. Also, foul rate is lower compared to RO systems. Okay. This is about your RO nanofiltration. There will be there will be ultrafiltration. There will be in your reverse osmosis, for example, we can say your reverse osmosis membrane may be in 1 nanometer, means more than 1 nanometer. Nanofiltration will be around 10 to 10 nanometer, and ultrafiltration will be around 100 nanometer, and membrane filter will be 1 micrometer. So, nanofiltration membrane have a nominal pore size of approximately 0.0001 microns. Okay, 0.001 microns, and MWCO of 1000 to 10,000 daltons. That is MWCO. Okay. So, what is the MWCO means? What is the MWCO? So, MWCO nothing but it is a molecular weight cutoff. Okay, molecular weight cutoff, or MWCO you can say, it refers to a lowest molecular weight salt, that is Dalton you can say, in which 90% of the salt are retained in the membrane, or molecular weight of the membrane. Example, 90% is retained in the membrane. Okay, so that is your molecular weight cutoff, that is 1000 to 10,000 daltons. Okay, pushing water through these smaller membranes forces require higher operation pressure than the ether. Pushing water through this smaller membrane, because it is after microfiltration as well as ultrafiltration. Nanofiltration has a pushing water through this smaller membrane pores is a required higher operation pressure than MFR UF, but not compared to reverse osmosis more than that pressure, but here compared to reverse osmosis little less, but larger than your microfiltration and higher than your microfiltration and ultrafiltration because it is at a very small micron. See, 0.001 micron pore size. Actually, in that pore size, we have to that pore size we have to pass the water. For that, high pressure system is required as compared to MF, means microfiltration and ultrafiltration. Operating pressures are usually near 600 kilopascal and can be used as a high as 1000 kilopascal. Okay, these systems can be removed virtually all cysts, bacteria, viruses, and humic material that provide excellent protection from DBP formation if the disinfectant residual is added after membrane. That is your disinfection byproduct. What is DBP? It is disinfection byproduct. We are already studied in the disinfection unit that disinfection byproduct is the biggest trouble to us. Alright. So that should not happen, means that can be excellently removed, added after membrane filtration step. Okay. Okay. So excellent. That is, they provide excellent protection from the DBP formation. So nanofiltration membranes are more also remove alkalinity. That product of the water can be corrosive, and measures such as blending raw water and product the water adding alkalinity may be needed to reduce corrosivity. Okay. Nanofiltration also removes the hardness of the water, which accounts that nanofiltration membranes sometimes being called softening membranes. Why we are calling as a softening membrane? So please highlight this point. Some question may be asked in the objective type of questions in the competitive exams. Which membrane is also called as softening membrane? That is none other than nanofiltration. We can call it as a nanofiltration membrane. We can call it as a softening membranes also, because only the thing is here we are going to the nanofiltration going to remove the hardness in the water. Hardness removal is called as softening process. So that is called as a softening membrane. Hard water treated by a nanofiltration will be need permanent to avoid precipitation of hardness ions on the membrane. That is pre-treatment to avoid. However, more energy is required for nanofiltration than the microfiltration and ultrafiltration. Okay. So that is about your nanofiltration. Okay. So now if we concentrate on nanofiltration, we have a application, as I told, softening, specific removal of heavy metals from the process of streams for reuses, reduction of salt content or slightly brackish water. Okay. And typical membrane performance of nanofiltration membranes are 50% NaCl removed and 90% of Ca for CaSO4. There are two types. Spiral membranes will be cheapest but more sensitive for pollution, and tubular membranes or straw membranes will be available. Okay. This is the technology, nanofiltration. However, energy required more than microfiltration, but not of reverse osmosis process. I hope you got it this. So we'll move to another topic. So nanofiltration idea is clear, right? So now just we will look at into RO and nanofiltration. RO and nanofiltration. Just we'll compare and overview with the RO and nanofiltration. Okay. For a raw water, or wastewater in particular, the configuration of industrial RO or nanofiltration system will be depend upon the application, characteristics of the water in the relation to required level of the purity. Although each system typically unique and custom designed, most of RO membrane system will be have some type inlet and collection tank, feed pump and skid and tank, filtration system that is typically membrane and module rack, receiving tank, backwash pumps of receiving tank for MF and UF, chemical cleaning system, compressed air for scouring membrane when MF UF is cleaned, automation instrument such as PLC controls. Okay, so this is about your overview of the filtration. Now just you also compare with an reverse osmosis and nanofiltration. What are the comparison you can see? That is, mainly RO and nanofiltrations are similar, but RO and nanofilter membrane filtration technology, in which pressure is applied to a liquid system driving through a semi-permeable membrane in order to remove dissolved solids. In this way, both RO and nanofiltration benefit from pre-treatment. RO and nanofiltration can foul quickly if larger particles are not removed by upstream filtration technology. Pre-treatment is required for both. Both are required pre-treatment because the larger particles is there means then there will be a fouling can be happen. The flux will be reduced. Both RO and nanofiltration require pressure to function. Both RO and nanofiltration require pressure to function, while RO and nanofiltrations are fairly efficient purification technologies. Both demand energy to move water across the membranes. Their fine pores are resulting high concentration of salt and other components are retentant side of the membrane. Both are used to place conventional treatment technologies. Okay. How RO and nanofiltrations are different? They can be distinguished based on the size of the particulates the each is able to remove. That is, we can remove. Okay. But reverse osmosis is under pressure we are going to remove. Okay. Any clarification if there means reverse osmosis and this you can ask. Okay. So we'll move to another topic. Before that, we have some design criteria that we'll discuss. Then we'll move to another topic. That is, the inlet collection tank feeds to a pumping system is normally has two pumps. Okay, that is what inner collection tanks I told, enabling the system to be run consistently 24 hours. Okay. The water then flows to a holding tank large enough for an half hour to an hour's worth of influent. The water then flows to a holding tank large enough for an half hour to an hour worth in flint, depending upon the nature of the feed system. Depending upon the nature of the feed system. Okay. If the feed system streams has lot of variability to it, the tank might need to hold more order to give stream time to blend up with an ups and downs in the bed in the feed source, because if the feed has lot of the variability to it, okay, from there the water flows through a pre-filter to take out the particles large enough to plug the internal fibers. Okay. Ultrafiltration, in which usually type of strainers through used in the different type of designs. From there it gets fed to an ultrafiltration system, which reduces the suspended particle, bacteria and virus from going into RO. It's often cleaned several times in a day with a back flushing and chemical cleaning. In some cases chlorination to keep module sanitized. Everyone's in a while. Okay, every once in a while. If CIP with intensive chemical cleaning perform once in a month or once in a quarter, that we have to do in this processes. Okay. So this is about your RO filtration and nanofiltration processes. So to say about RO and your reverse osmosis and this your what nanofiltration, one of the widened technology reverse osmosis nowadays. Desalination is also one of the main prime technology which is used. But while selecting membrane also you have to take care about membrane selection. Two types of membrane is mostly available that I already told. Like life membrane replacement and power consumption represent major component of the overall water production cost. The relative contribution depended primarily on feed water salinity in the well-designed operated RO system. Membrane have lasted 5 to 10 years in a soluble applications. Okay. This is about a little about RO and your nanofiltration. Okay. So now before moving to another system that we have reached some of the differences in the ROs and nanos. Not much, it's almost same, but pore size and applying pressure is little different. Rather than that, everything is same. Okay. And markets, ROs are available in market easily. Okay. So much more details you can requirements you can ask, I can tell. So now you got it that nanofiltration and reverse osmosis. Then what is ultrafiltration? Filtration, you know that. Ultrafiltration, see, we studied nanofiltration. After ultrafiltration and microfiltration, nanofiltration will come, because what is ultrafiltration as a pore size is 0.01 micron. Your ultrafiltration size is 0.01, but your nanofiltration is 0.001. Okay, smaller than your this one, and nanofiltration 0.001 and 0, this is 0.01. 0.001 is nano. 0.0001 is reverse osmosis. Ultrafiltration, nanofiltration, and reverse osmosis, RO. Okay. So that is about this topic, and now we are moving for another topic. That is the last topic of today's video. That is your membrane elements. What are the membrane elements? What are membrane elements? Okay. Like membrane elements are used to represent the surface spaces as the strength of the plane, you can say. Okay. The Suti, 1 minute. Give a minute. It is like is used to represent the thin surface in the space that offers strength in the plane of element but have no bending stiffness. For example, the rubber sheet that forms a balloon. In addition, they are often used to represent stiffing solid structures such as that. Choosing also very important. Membrane filter, membrane element for your filtration. So that is one of the important criteria. More suitable for low solid. If you see that there are many membrane elements are available also, like that is involves using some permeables membranes. So how many are available? That is one hollow fiber modules. This is also one of the membrane element which is used for your filtration, nano RO. That is more suitable for low solid streams. These membranes are constructed of thousands of hollow fiber that resembles the suffect, and it's efficient to keep clean, occasional backwashing and clean in place. CIP technologies are used. Fiber can be bundled together and longitudinally potted in a resin on both ends and encased within a pressure vessel. The typical hollow fiber module may consist of several hundred to over 1,000 fibers. Although dimensions vary by manufacturer, approximate ranges of the hollow fiber constructions are outside diameter 0.5 to 2 mm, inside diameter 0.3 to 1 mm, and fiber wall thickness 0.1 to 0.6 mm, and your fiber strength is. This is the membrane element where we are going to use the membrane element should be required. So you can see here many membrane elements. Membrane elements, right? That elements also very important. Hollow fiber modules, how it should be and what is the criteria should be involved in this way. So that is your membrane 6 minutes. 6 minutes. Correct. 29 minutes. So that is one major criteria. More suitable for the low. Why hollow fibers are used? So that is more suitable for liquid streams. Okay. So now this is hollow. Now if you plate and frame types, if you are using plate and frame type, if you use, These membranes are placed on the top of the plate. These membranes are placed on the top of the plate like a structure. The collected solids on the inside of this supporting plate. That whatever the collected solids will be there, no, that will be on the inside of this supporting plate. Will be collected easily. It is collected. These have a low packing destinies. These have a low packing destinies and can be less efficient than other filtration method. Less efficient than other filtration method, but they are generally easy to use and clean. They are generally easy to use and clean. Typically used on solution difficult to filter. They are also among the lower cost membrane but higher cost systems. Okay, lower cost membrane and higher cost systems. These membranes are placed on the top of the plate like structure. This is about your plate and frame type of your membrane which will be available. About this, and spiral wound membranes will be there. Spiral wound membranes are more commonly used, like commonly used membrane. They are compressed on the flat sheet. Composed on the flat sheet of the membrane between mesh-like spaces, which will be wound around the central tube. The tube collects permeates after filtration and placed within casing. They are relatively compact and used to be high volume application like slow suspended solids. This is also used for a low suspended solids and high volume applications. We can use it. That is your plate and frame as well as spiral wound. So now tubular will be there. The tubular several tube-like membranes are placed within the pipe or shell, and the stream passes through tubes. This is a several tube-like membranes are placed within the pipe or shell, and the tubes pass through. It transfers the permeate to the pipe shell inside. This can be less permeable with a lower packing density, and generally it is used to hard to treat streams such as those with the high TDS and TSS and oil graded fats. If oil or grease fats are there, it's little difficult to use it. Okay, so find out we cannot use for that purpose. So this is about the topic which we are discussed. So this is about today's part. I mean today this part. So just will recall about today's matter. That is your today's matter is about reverse osmosis technique. We are studied how it is worked and what is about its advantages, applications as well as limitations, and salt stage reduction, what it is equal, feed flow and permeate concentration flow equal, and flux water or flux will be that we are studied. Right. So now we are going nanofiltration. We are discussed on what is the RO and nanofiltration, little comparison with that, and membrane elements. What are the membrane elements are available? That there will be the 4 types of membrane elements which is available. That also we have discussed. So in this module we had disinfection and some technologies. In that remaining we have studied many technologies like water softening process, lime soda process, as well as even zeolite process, that is ion exchange process, nanofiltration, in that filtration, reverse osmosis process, and membranes elements which is required for the filtration, as well as now upcoming video we are going to discuss about fluoridation and defluoridation Nalagunda technique. Fluoridation means what? Defluoridation, Nalagunda technique. That will be your last portion in the topic of module number 4, which is miscellaneous treatment. The next part will be going to concentrate, that is part number 6. This is part number 5 video. Part number 6 will be going to concentrate on that particular topic. Please be available for that video also. So I am going to signing off for this video. Thank you for everyone. Thank you.